So I went to Kingston, right? And I'm Sunday morning, drove to Brandon, and then was home for work on Tuesday. So like, he's kind of killing me.
And they were on the hunt to find their own place. And I watched them go through the pregnancy, and I watched life up until Neil turned 2, when I decided to move my family to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is a very far drive away from here, and I missed out on a lot of growing up for Neil. My children didn't get to know him the way I would have loved for them to have known him. So all of my memories of Neil, for the most part, are secondhand. And you know what? I've had a whole year to come to grips with that, and it really sucks. I want you all to not regret doing things in life. I learned a lot of things in the last umpteen years since Neil was born. But what I've learned the most is that family, no matter how far away, are always a phone call away. So, without saying that, I'm going to continue. It was 1 year ago on this day that I was expecting a phone call from Christina. I couldn't wait to hear about Neil's night out. I knew he was going out with his friends, I knew he was getting a designated driver, and I knew that I was going to be expecting a phone call. So when I seen her face pull up on my phone, I was cheerful and excited. I was like, "Hey Christina, how's it going?" And what I heard was not what I was expecting. What she said was, "Hi, Neil was in a car accident and he didn't make it." I was like, "What?" I heard what she said. I really did. I heard every single word she said, but they didn't make sense because that's not what she was supposed to be saying to me. She was supposed to be saying that Neil had a great time, but that's not her words. 4 seasons have come and gone like nothing to most, but for me, their colors have seemed duller than previous years. Knowing Neil is not enjoying them with Mike, Christina, and all of us, Neil was a part of an inner circle that was my inner circle. Mike and Christina are 2 of my favorite people, and I have a lot of favorite people, but they're 2 of the top most favorite people. Neil is one of those people because of them, not only because of them. And so this year made me regret moving here. Oh, I just went over that part, sorry. I have missed out on getting my phone calls this year that are about Christmas and every other holiday. So, there's been 12 months and it still doesn't seem like it's been a long enough time to adapt to these new words. And each holiday that comes and goes, it makes me sad because I'm missing the moments that I would share with Christina on the phone about our children. And I know that everyone here misses Neil. And we all wish that he was still here. I calculated that there was 365 days. And in those days, there was 870 hours, 525,600 minutes, 31,536 seconds. And out of all that time, every single day, Neil has been the first thing I thought about and the last thing I have thought about. And I didn't really read everything on my speech the way that it was supposed to because I get sidetracked very easily in my wording, and I'm going to cut this short and let somebody else go because you're it to every single person I don't even know because we're making it weird. You're all looking at me, it's making me nervous. But I just wanted you all to say.
Well, this is not going to be easy at all, so bear with me. But I know it's something Neil would expect. I wouldn't do this for me, I wouldn't do it for Mike, but I'm doing it for Neil. Because he'd kick my arse if I didn't come up here and at least try. He expects me to talk, and Mike to pat my back, and that's exactly what's going on, so. Well, here we are. Not where I ever imagined I'd be. It's been a year since our sweet boy was taken. Nothing has been the same since. Even the brightest days are somewhat dull. There's no joy. Sad and angry. Very angry. We lost our past, our present, and our future. It's been a struggle to write this, to find the right words. I have been writing for days and weeks and ripping it up and starting over. You have no idea. I always thought this was about his wedding day and the funny stories I would share. I never expected I'd have to do it for this. But what does one write about a loss so profound? What do you write in a memorial speech for your own child? I still don't know. Neil was a hard pregnancy. He kicked my butt, but all the ups and downs were worth it when we were blessed with a 10-pound, almost 2-foot-long baby. He was a blessing in our home. He was a bright light, full of fun, love, and laughter. He was the perfect baby. Then he turned 9 months old and learned how to walk. Everything changed. He became a wild child. Couldn't leave him alone for a moment. He was quick. I would go to the bathroom, come out, find him sitting on top of the fridge, climbing in the dryer. Anything that he shouldn't be doing is what he was doing. He was an amazing little climber. He would go up a ladder faster than you could stop him. Mike was helping a friend do a roof one time. Took his eyes off him for a moment. Bang, up the ladder he went, across the roof, laughing and running, no fear whatsoever. Dad scared shitless. The kid had more stitches, fractures, broken limbs than anybody I knew by the time he was 3. I was convinced they were going to take him from us one day. While at the hospital waiting for stitches, we ended up having to sign papers that we wouldn't sue. He almost broke his arm and needed more stitches. He kept us busy and on our toes, that's for sure. I remember the time he fractured his growth plate in his foot, doing a wheelie on his bike. We were sitting on the couch watching TV. He was explaining to me what he did wrong and how he was going to fix it when the cast came off. I just shook my head. What do you do? Neil was quite the character. He could amuse you for hours with conversation. At 2 years old, he had a wicked little vocabulary, very articulate. He could talk your ear off. Jabberjaws was his nickname. The stories he came up with was amazing and absolutely hilarious. His mind was always on the go. I recall Dr. Isak once saying that it was a sign of intelligence, and of course my biased self completely agreed with him. Neil was always a kind and loving child. Daycare praised him regularly. Teachers said he was a delight to be around. Other parents would call and tell me what a wonderful kid he was. His bus driver once sent a note home thanking us for raising such a great kid. Mind you, he did threaten to kick him off once. He had 8 Jig's dinner, and Jig's dinner farts almost got him kicked off the bus. Neil had a great sense of humor. He enjoyed making people laugh. I think he gets that from both his parents. As we're We were always beyond proud. There are many stories I could go on for days. Sorry, some of this is a little broken up sometimes. He was quick and smart, which made our lives a little harder sometimes, but he had so much life and love in him. He was absolutely a joy to be around. He could come up with the funniest shit. He was going into JK and got a pool for his birthday. It was a hot day in June, and he came inside and walked to an unopened pool. JK. He walked up. His exact words was, as he rubbed the pool box, "It's so hot outside. If only we had something to fill with water." I just died laughing. Mike set up the pool. He was our family. He completed us. Our little family is free. Living in a farmhouse gave Neil the opportunity to have many friends over on weekends. His dad built him a tree house that he was so proud of, loved showing his friends. He enjoyed his childhood, and I'm very glad he had that life. We were very blessed with what we had. It just wasn't enough. Neil always had a heart of gold. He was kind, loving, and open-minded. We were so proud of him and the way he was with others. He had such a great sense of right and wrong. He once got in trouble for massaging a girl's shoulders. There's a no hot hands policy at school. Turned out she had confided in him that she was on her period, and he was just trying to make her feel better, not getting in trouble for that. He would stand up to bullies when he would stand up to bullies. He loathed bullies. When he was just 11 years old, he got into a disagreement with someone, an adult he cared about deeply over comments he didn't agree with. We were so proud when he stood up to them. It took a lot of courage. He stood up to anybody that hurt his friends, even us. There was a time when we had company and I didn't have much patience for one of his friends. When they left, Neil told me I was wrong, that I had issues with their mom, not them. And you know what? He was right, and I told him so. And I was proud of him. I hope he knows how much we were proud of him. I once overheard a conversation outside. He was on his game site, telling one of his buddies to ignore the people that were picking on him for being smart. He said to him, "One day you're going to be the boss of those guys." It was a very proud mom moment. I've been told quite a few stories about Neil. I'm unsurprised of what they have said about my boy and how much they trusted him with their girls, moms and dad alike. It makes you proud to know that you raised a boy that people thought was a genuine, good, decent kid. One lady had said to me, if her girl was missing, she'd call Neil and he would find her and make her call. Many things I wish he had told us about, like buying groceries for his friends that was a young single mom. I know we both would have loved to have been able to say how freaking kind he was and how proud we were of the man he was becoming. He just never bragged about those things. It may come as a shock to you, but Neil was pretty stubborn at times. I'm sure he gets that trait from his dad. I believe if he believed he was right, he would dig his heels in. Sometimes I thought he was just going to beat me in a game of stubborn. One day, he went the entire day without drinking. One day, he went the entire day only drinking water because he absolutely refused to say please. There was a day in grade 11, he was so mad at me because we made him apologize to his teacher. He's like, "I don't mean it, so technically it's lying." I swear he would have made a good politician the way he could flip a situation. He apologized. Neil didn't like to do housework, but when we did finally allow him an after-school job, he did great. He bought both his cars. Dad had to do some work on the first one. The second one he brought out right. The second car was a standard. His dad was out of town and he asked some questions and watched a few videos. He taught himself how to drive a standard. I think that's pretty awesome. He had a great relationship with us both. I can count on one hand how many arguments we had with him in 19 years. He talked to us, trusted us, confided in us, and came for advice. He felt comfortable being honest with us, with the important stuff, like admitting he was having unprotected sex. Only sometimes, he said, indignantly. Needless to say, condoms were purchased the next day. In hindsight, I wish we hadn't. Just months before he was taken from us, during one of our many great conversations, he said to me he couldn't wait to make us grandparents. He kind of laughed and said, "You'll be in the house making them something, and Dad'll be outside teaching them something." I take great comfort in knowing he loved us and was happy as a child. As I write this, my heart bleeds. Why? Why did this happen to such a good kid? Why can't I trade places? Why is the guy that killed my boy still out enjoying life? How can he go out, drink, party, enjoy life with his friends? Why does he get to celebrate his birthdays? We will never have grandbabies. Our house will always be quiet now. It just seems so unfair. It's so hard to not be angry all the time. I try and say to myself, he's watching. Do what he would want us to do. That is why I'm writing this. Neil would expect me to. He was so young. He had dreams, goals. We lost a good person. Neil, our son, is gone. Our love, our dreams, our hope. He was the light in this world that should never have been snuffed out. He lived and died a hero. Calming Ella as she screamed in terror, bracing Matt, his best friend before impact. And I know without a doubt he is happy that Jack had an angel by his side. I know he's happy Matt, Jack, and Ella are here and would want none of them to feel guilty. Neil would want the rest of them to be happy, to live great lives, maybe say his name and never forget him. I'm sure he's here with all of us right now, and if people could just do a kindness in his honor, I'm sure he would see it as a great gesture. Thank you, everybody, and remember, there's no such thing as strangers. And I do want to say a special thanks to Joy and her team. They were there that night. They were able to help Jack. They were his angels, and they raised the money and did this for us today. So I'd like to thank them as well.
Like that, especially at that age. I also came super unprepared. I've written a whole book dedicated to him, and I've tried speeches. Also, the same as Christina, ripped them up, rewrote them. It was so frustrating to try to do. So I have this, and this is something I kind of found. I always find papers about him written, just like in my purses, under my bed, so much. So I found this morning, and I figured it probably was the best thing I could come up with for today. So it's been a year now, and I wish nothing more than to be in those arms again. When you were still with me, you were all I could think about, and you were running through my mind every single day, and nothing has changed. I still think about you every day. Before I ever did anything, from down to a social media post to what I had picked out to wear that day, I always thought what you were going to think. Before I ever did anything, I always thought to myself, what was he going to say about it? Because I knew eventually I was going to tell you, and you'd have some smart-ass remark. Whenever I decided to actually wear nice clothes for once instead of my regular baggy ones, I always thought that you would appreciate it, and I'd take pictures for you. Even though you have left me, these thoughts will never change, and I'm always wondering what you're thinking. I keep thinking of all the times I've fallen asleep in your arms and woken up hours later to you running your fingers through my hair. I keep replaying how you would look at me with complete fascination as I told you things, and how you were always asking about me. You were always asking me questions about myself, and I never knew why, but and you always had to seem to know every single thing about me. It was like you were interviewing me sometimes. I miss how you would tell me things that you've done or things people have said to you and how it reminded you of me. I'll miss hearing them all the time. I miss how obsessed you were with my hair and how you told me to never cut it. I can't stop thinking how you would look at me and how your touches felt. Sometimes, when he thought I was asleep, he'd gently sneak a little kiss in. And we only ever kissed once, so of course I would remember every single one that he snuck in, and it would send my heart to the stars. I love the feeling of being in your arms and the feeling of your eyes on me, and the feeling of your touch and your presence. I loved absolutely everything about you and how sweet you were and kind and genuine you were to everybody. I'm going to miss how you would sit up and play with my hair while you waited for me to fall asleep. and that was the last time I'd seen you actually, was you waited for me to fall asleep, and before you left, you tucked me in and you fixed me with the blanket, and you gave me a kiss on the forehead and then quietly walked out the door. I remember telling myself that we were so in love as soon as that door shut. I'm going to miss so many things about you, and I'm still learning to carry on your memory in the most healthiest way possible, in a way that I know that would make you proud. And I hope all of his friends are doing the same, and just remembering him for who he was and the great person that he was, and the light that he shined out on everyone. So, thank you. We'll remember me. We will remember Neil.
Yeah.
Coming this way exactly, and we're like, oh, someone's sitting on the bench, and then we realize that it's me.
You want to get a picture of us on the bench?
Yes.
Sideways.
Let me just snap. Sure. I didn't know if you wanted the bench with Neil's rock on it. Is that going
Or
home
no,
with
like
you?
selfies. I want like people.
Okay.
We want people that like
That
sit
sit
on the bench.
Dare.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
before I just took a picture.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Are you taking that home with you?
Yes.
Yeah. For some
I
reason.
managed to, but yeah, it was.
I was pretty impressed. I mean, you were going there.
You held on to it pretty good. Yeah, no, you're a champion doing that. And again, if you write it out a million times and crumple it home.
Celebration of life today for Neil. Tell me about what this day means to you, hearing all the love from friends and family.
No, I guess it's kind of bittersweet. You get to hear what other people thought and how much they loved him and stuff, but he's not here to hear it. That's the thing. Right? Doesn't matter how beautiful it is if he's not here to hear it.
There's a lot of stuff, and as I say, it's one of these, if I can explain it right. Obviously I never knew Neil, but I know Neil now. I know Neil, what he was like as a person, and it's nothing that can ever be done, but does it help getting out there the type of person that Neil will always be?
For
Like,
me,
did he save people? Like, did he save people that night that you brought up when you were talking? Like, he literally saved people in the accident.
Well, one, he was, Ella was supposed to be sitting where Neil was sitting, and he switched spots with her. So it would have been her, not him. And he also apparently, he braced Matt. Matt had a mark on his shoulder, and apparently it was from Neil holding him back. He was in the front seat, holding Matt back in the back seat.
And I know this is the hardest part, and this will be the last question, but, and forgive me on how it sounds, because I know it's a stupid question, but how are you guys doing?
One day at a time.
Yep. I cry every day still. I'm pretty sure Mike cries every day still. Not all the time now anymore, but everything chokes you up. It's the little things, it's the little things that you're missing. Like he called every day or he texted every day. You don't get that anymore. Like he did call for advice or guess what I'm doing. Like we don't get to hear his stories or, like he would have been 20 now. Would he have had a girlfriend? One of his best friends is 20 years old and they're expecting a baby. Would he be expecting a baby? Would he be in school? I do know he'd be doing something good. He wouldn't be like wasting his life away. So it is sad that his life is gone.
Tell me about the venture, how the idea came forward, and tell me your thoughts.
Well, it's kind of through his friends, really. They were really big on pushing the whole no such thing as strangers. I guess Neil was very big on everybody being involved. He didn't like bullies and stuff like that, so he wanted everybody to be friends. So it was them that wanted the no such thing as strangers. So we got that written on the bench, so like people could sit here and do like a, hashtag Neil's bench kind of thing.
And that's what you'd like people to do, is just take a selfie or something like that of them here and send it to hashtag Neil's bench?
Yes.
Okay. And what's this mean to you sitting here for the first time?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty emotional.
It's a sad day.
It's a very sad day. You know, like our kid, he should be here. He shouldn't be a memory on a bench.
That's right.
There should be more laws for drinking and driving, and maybe when you run from the cops, I think people should be more nervous about breaking the law. And if that was the case, maybe this wouldn't be here. He'd still be here instead.